Welcome back to 52 Weeks of Gaming. We're going to talk to Nick. We're going to see what game he's playing, and we're going to talk and ask some questions after that. So stay tuned and pay attention. Alright, so this week is a game that I am super excited for because it's part of a series that I absolutely love, and by that I mean it's part of Gears of War. So Gears 5 came out this week on Tuesday, and I am decided that that is going to be my game for the week because I absolutely love the series and I love the story and where it's going, and this one is being advertised as the biggest one yet, so I really want to get my hands on it and give it all the time that I could. So yeah, that's going to be this week, so stay tuned at the end. Hopefully I finish the story. Who knows? So Gears 5, which dropped the of War part of it to just being Gears 5, is the next iteration of the game that is developed by a company called The Coalition, and it's published by Xbox Game Studios. It's the second one to be part of this Coalition group, which was formed after Judgment, based out of Epic Games, and became a separate studio under the Xbox Game Solutions brand, and it makes specifically the Gears games. This one is a bit different from the other ones, where instead of following JD, all the trailers showed that you're going to follow Kate instead, who was a new character introduced in 4, but kind of had this interesting twist that happened at the end of the game, and the game continues on top of that. It's also been advertised as the biggest game in Gears franchise history, and that is because of the different modes that it's going and adding. On top of Versus and Horde, they added a new mode called Escape, which is a 3-player co-op kind of timed escape from a dungeon sort of thing. And you have your multiplayer, your single player, 3-player campaign co-op as well, and tons of different game modes, as well as giving a fresh new twist on the series by making one of the maps be 50 times larger than any map that it has been in a Gears game before. Now, it is brand new, so it came out on September 10th for most people, and the 6th if you went and had the Ultimate Edition, or if you had Game Pass Ultimate on Xbox. And I'm going to leave it up to Nick to kind of go into a bit more detail about the specifics in the game, because I know that he is a big Gears fan, so I'm going to go and let him kind of give more information on that. So take it away. Alright, so this week was Gears 5, and as a big fan of the Gears franchise, I just have to say that there's a lot in this game. So the story is phenomenal and really builds on 4, which I didn't think that 4 was bad, but it was kind of like this weird transition because 3 kind of ended definitively, and then Judgment, which kind of was similar to how Halo did ODST, that I went back and kind of told this story of some characters, but 4 introduced you to these new characters 25 years later and had you go through this whole thing, and then 5 had to build on top of that and kind of continue this new arc, and I feel like it did a fantastic job. There's the typical Gears elements in it that you go and have, like the combat's the same, the way you run and move and everything is the same as it always has been, but everything looks beautiful. You have 2 acts that are pretty much open worlds with all these side quests and going on the skiff to go to these different locations, which is something new for a Gears game, because in the past it's always been very linear in terms of story and campaign for going from one mission to another. That having these kind of little bits of side quests to go and do was a nice addition to the game to kind of add something unique and new to it. But even outside of the campaign, that was really cool and really fleshed out Kate's character. You had your typical multiplayer versus mode with tons of different game modes in it, and the same Gears multiplayer that I've always sucked at. You have Horde mode, which is the same as it's always been, with up to 50 waves depending on how long your whole team survives, and you have the difficulties there, and they even in their new mode, which they call Escape, where you play basically on a team of 3, and the object is to basically escape from a hive and kill enemies on the way out and destroy it, because you're kind of working on a limited time. And it's really, really cool. I think Escape is a nice new twist on a multiplayer mode, and I think it's something that is really well done and really unique and really fits into the universe and the overall concept of it, because you're dealing with this team called Team Scorpio, so it makes sense they would poison, because, you know, scorpions, all that sort of stuff. But it's really well done, still fits into the theme of the overall game. The characters are really cool, and their one-liners that they have depending on things, and they do fit in with Mac, Keegan, and Alina, and it's something that was really nice to go and play. And I want to say that even in general, three-player co-op isn't something that games typically have. Now, the campaign has three-player co-op because you have the two human characters and then Jack the robot, which someone could go and play as, which I think is a really unique, twist on traditional campaigns, which are usually either 2 people or 4 people or just no co-op whatsoever. But there's so much to go and do in this game that when they go and advertised it as like the biggest game for a Gears franchise, they weren't lying. Definitely there's grinding to do, which is always in a Gears game. I think it's kind of funny that Gears games, it's a lot of grinding in Gears, and you know how that phrase goes. But it's nice to have something like this really cool campaign with its collectibles and unlockables and sorts of things, with a new game mode like Escape, on top of game modes like Horde, which people have already loved and have loved and loved and loved. And I know people who still, up until 5 came out, played Gears 4 and played Horde with people, because there's a bunch of strategy to it, and I think it's similar to like Zombies mode in the Call of Duty games, that there is something to it that makes it unique and really draws people in. And I think Escape, with its weekly hive update for it is, and the ability to go and build different hives for people to go and play through, and you have to play through it and publish it, and you can customize it with enemies and weapons and how long it is. And I think it's something that's has a lot of potential for growth and for being this really, really cool game mode that I could see other games in the future using something like it. And I think the game itself is fantastic, and it's something that, as a Gears fan, I love. I love Gears 5. That's straight to the point as I can get. Wow, you really had a lot to say there. So, with all of that, who would want to go and play this game? I mean, Gears games are a tricky thing, because at one hand, I love Horde mode, and I definitely love the new Escape mode, and there's plenty of things to go and do in campaign still, like relic weapons to go and find, but I suck at versus. Now, I'm sure I know the answer to this, but do you think that you are going to keep playing this game in the future? I think anyone that is a Gears fan definitely should go and play the game, because it's something that is a nice continuation of the story. And even if you're not a Gears fan, like for example, because it's a game that's on Xbox Game Pass, so if you have that, I think it's something to still go and try out, because it does something that not many games do, and it has what they call Previously On and State of the Universe. And so Previously On talks about basically the story of Gears 4, where State of the Universe goes all the way back to Gears 1 and covers every major story point up into the beginning of Gears 5 to kind of paint this universe and show where the different characters are and what they mean, so you can kind of go into it with a bit of a better idea on the game and the characters, and feel a bit more connected than if you were to jump into a game in the middle of a series and you had no idea about any of the characters in it. So yeah, I think there's a bunch of people that should really go and play it and try it out. The toss-up if I'm going to keep playing it like a lot. Definitely will go and play it. I know, again, that I love Escape. I love Horde. I should play some versus to possibly get a bit better. But yeah, I'm definitely going to continue playing it a bit, because it's a game that I love, and there's still so much that I need to go and do, and I've barely scratched the surface on it. So yeah, I love when games still have plenty for me to go and do in it, and Gears 5 is definitely one of them.